sure I'm fluid and effective today. So I trust we all have had a good week. That is Monday, Tuesday, and even Wednesday. Welcome once again to the OFTV platform where your voice deserves to be heard. My voice is heard today. I'm your usual financial advisor. My name is Gladys, and in some quarters, I'm known as the entrepreneur. I just want to ask a series of questions today. Do you think long term? Do you have a backup plan? Do you deliberately prepare for good times and bad times? Do we have protection around us? These are critical questions that we need to answer in our everyday life. In our homes, we have first aid kits, we have toolboxes, we have various kinds of equipment or gadgets or remedies to handle an emergency or a problem that might just pop up. Some of us have put up very strong protective measures, i.e., we have dogs, we have electric gates or electric fences, and of course, we're all familiar with our emergency numbers. The same way we have put in or we put in, these measures concerning emergency, our safety, and the like, is the same way we should actually prepare for our finances. We should take it as important as being secure, as important as, making sure that you're not caught unaware. And so that brings me to what we want to talk about today. My question generally was, are you prepared? I was listening to the news today, and the breaking story, one of the breaking stories was that the rate of inflation has come down from a double digit to single digit from last year August. That's almost a year. Cheering news, isn't it? But the cost of living has not come down. And there's also some talk that the interest rate on mortgages is still going to go up. I think if we're counting, it's gone up like 4 or 5 times, within a very short space in time, which is really, really, really something that is shocking and puts us in a mode of emergency. Now, the general cost of living, basically, I would say globally has gone up. What we see here in this part of the world is not unique to this part of the world. We actually have it coming up everywhere. In some places it's more, should I say, it stares you in the face more than it does in some places. But notwithstanding, we just must prepare because we find ourselves in an emergency. Now there are three critical areas that we need to focus on concerning this state of emergency. If I may use that word, if I may borrow that term. First and foremost is housing, transportation, and food. Now, before I go into housing, transportation, and food, all that I've been rambling about since I started talking basically is talking about financial planning. Do you have a financial plan in place? Do you? Now, financial planning, simply put, is using available resources today to achieve a desired goal or a result in the future. Available resources today to achieve a desired goal or result in the future. It is beyond money, but it is systematic, or rather, it is a systematic approach to ensure money works with other things to take you to your desired goal. So that means financial planning is not just a one-day affair or just something you do, for a short period. It's actually the whole of your life. It's a continuous journey. Because if we look at ourselves now, we are on when we look at what we finance people or financial planners, what we call the human life cycle, I know I've talked about it. You find yourself at a particular stop. I don't know what stop you're in. I don't know if you're at the beginning, if you're at the middle, or you're heading towards the end. But whatever it is, there should be a financial plan. And also in your financial plan, you need to take into consideration the fact of the current state of affairs in which we're in. Now, like I was saying, there are three critical areas that we have to look into, and we should treat, as an emergency, or we're in a state of emergency. Our housing, our transportation, and food. Now, the question is, what does your financial affairs look like? Where do you desire to be? Can you really understand what is going on and interpret what is going on and use the information around you to take care of these three critical areas? Is very important. And so today I'm not really going to go into all of that, but the thing is, we need to be prepared. And the best time to actually prepare is not when the times have fallen so bad or the times are bad. It is actually when the times are good. Hence my question: are we prepared for good times and for bad times? Because it is what you do in the good times that will ultimately carry you through the bad times. So now let's zero into what we were looking at. Now, first and foremost, housing. That is very, very critical. And a lot has been happening concerning housing. And there are a lot of not very pleasant stories as regards housing. You find out that some people can't pay the rent anymore. They have to move out from where they are. I was watching a story of a single mother. Actually, the story was covering, children not being in school. And some of the reasons that was noted for our children not being in school have to do with housing. And they were talking to this single mom who had to move out from where she was because of the economic downtime and the economic crunch. And she had to move far away from her son's school. And she said it takes her about almost, if she's going to walk, the day she doesn't have the money to get on the train or, get on the bus or anything, it will take her like 2 hours to drop off her son, and another 2 hours to get back home, and another 2 hours to pick him up and get back home with him. And the days she can't afford it, the boy doesn't go to school. That is one out of so many. Now, the question is, to address her issue, there's so many things that we have to look into. But I'll say, for those of us who are blessed and those of us who have an opportunity and we're still, able to do a few things for ourselves, what can you do concerning housing? What is your plan concerning housing in view of interest rates going up? I think I've said this on this platform. I know of somebody who, I think about less than a year ago, his mortgage was about £640 or thereabouts, and now today it's hitting almost £1,200. And the question is, do I sell this property? Is this the best time to sell and just, forget about it? There's another increase looming. And the question actually is, what can we really do concerning that? It's a huge question, but it's something we really need to think about. And I would like to encourage us not to panic, not to, become fearful about it, but it's just for us to really, really think about the various options or the various things we can do to support ourselves. Now, for housing, can you downsize? That's something that we can consider. Downsizing. Probably you find yourself in maybe you're one of the families that everybody has flown the nest, and it's a good opportunity to probably downsize. The final decision actually lies with you. I'm just like helping us to think along the lines. Would you think about downsizing? Probably moving from where you are to another place, but you should also take into consideration your ability and the proximity to related areas that you go to or you have to be at. So that is one option. Downsizing is something that can really help us, you understand, to ease off the burden, probably of maintaining where we stay or having to pay the mortgage or even having to pay the rent. And then another option that we can look at is rentals. Can you afford to probably have and use part of your home or some of your rooms as B&B? Can you rent out and have somebody live in the house with you, so that you have income coming in? Do you have a spare room that is just empty? Could you do it up and that could bring in extra income for you? That is another opportunity or another good way to help us or to help us plan financially, and also to help us pay the rent or help us pay the mortgage. You could share. I know a lot of when you're looking at homes, a lot of people, some of the things that come up are people who want to share, and they tell you the kind of people they want to share with. There was one time I was looking for a place some 2 years ago, and going through the option of sharing, I wanted to share, and the option of sharing was there, and some of it is quite interesting. Some people want people like themselves. Some people want people who are fun loving, they can really have a good relationship with. So we can think about renting out a room or 2 rooms or whatever it is, doing up part of your house and putting it up for rent. That is a good way to help us concerning payments or just having additional income. And then when we talk about food, that is very, 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 very critical. There's so much talk about food. There's so much going on about it. Every day there's something that pops up concerning it. It's either sometimes good news or not good news, or sometimes it's just very bad news. But whatever it is, we find ourselves in a high cost of living era, should I say, or situation. And how do we make the best out of it? When I was talking about the blueprint of reward, I talked a bit about this, but it's something that we really, 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 really need to look at. We need to be very critical about it. It's more or less an emergency, because you find that people can't really eat the way they want to eat. You need to cut down on so many things. But in all honesty, it's not. I want to encourage us to look at it in a positive light. Now the question is concerning food. What can you really do? I, for one, I always like to get to the source. I like to go to the source, as close to the source as possible. Why? Because I do bulk buying, and that tends to take me for a while. So even when I'm not really fluid with cash, I am sure I have something to eat. And also, I've learned to cut down drastically on, takeouts or having to buy food outside. I try to cook my meals. I try to have something ready, and I've learned to whip up, quick meals, learn to use leftovers, which is really, really exciting. I think I'm going to start a quick meal platform. I'm thinking about it, but it's exciting. And you can decide to make your own meals. The money, sometimes, what I found is that a few days ago, I spent a small amount. I was really hungry. I couldn't eat before I went out. And so I spent a small amount buying something to eat. And in my mind, I'm like, this amount, if I had woken up early enough and done all the things I needed to, I wouldn't have been spending this particular amount. To be honest, it was just under £5. But I knew that with that, I could have gotten myself some potatoes, a bit of vegetable, or maybe I would have gotten myself a pack of pasta, something. and I would have been able to prepare a meal that would have taken me probably 2 days. You understand? So that's how critical and how savvy I've become concerning food. And to be honest, you can learn to cook anything without paying anybody. Sorry, guys, but the honest truth is there's a university I go to, and it's actually YouTube, and there's so many things you can learn. I learned some nice, dishes there, and I make them, and it's like, wow, very simple, and very easy. And it really, really helps me to cut down on my spending. And so you can do that, you can try that. You can, I've learned how to enjoy bread in so many different ways now, thanks to YouTube. I've learned how to enjoy my chicken in so many different ways. I've learned how to do a lot of things, tried out different kinds of food, and it's just really, really fun. And it's a good way that you can even get everybody involved, in the family involved to do that. I personally, if I have the opportunity, yes, I would visit food banks. I won't feel bad about it. I know it's not something that everybody wants to talk about, but if I really want to, if I have the opportunity, yes, I would, and I do visit the food banks to get something. It's just a way to help us out. If we have these opportunities, we can make use of them. Good. So now, one thing I notice is concerning food, sometimes storage really helps. I, for one, I always like to make sure the freezer is up, is working properly, because I store food. I could store something and it could sit there for like a whole month. As far as it's in the deep freezer, I'm fine, I'm ready to go. I even store bread in there. I pick up the bread and I can throw it in there and it can stay as long as. All I need to do when it comes out is pop it into the microwave for like some maybe 10 seconds, just to make sure it's warm and I have my bread. So another way you understand in these times that we're in is preservation. It's very key. Get yourself nice containers that are microwave friendly, containers that you can, store in your food and you pop into your freezer or your fridge, whatever the case may be. It will last you a little longer, and also it gives you the opportunity not to, probably the only thing that you would be concerned about is the electric bill, you understand, but popping up the hob or popping up your gas will reduce, because you've cooked probably for a few days or to a week. I like to cook for the whole week, or just plan out meals for the whole week, so it saves me a lot, and all I have to do is pop it into the microwave when I'm ready. So that's a good one to go. Why are we talking about storage? Because it helps you to eliminate waste, it helps you to save not just your money, but also it gives you that peace of mind. It's all about planning. It gives you that peace of mind. Everything is organized. You know what is there. I do a fridge audit from time to time. I check to see what do I have stored in the freezer. If I find out that I have too much of something, okay, let's exhaust this before we go to this, or before we cook up something. Like this afternoon, I noticed I had a lot of leftover rice, and so it's like, oh, good. I can use the leftover rice, probably cook up egg fried rice or something. I know I found a bit of chicken stew, and I'm like, oh, good. I have leftover rice. I know what to do with that. So carry out a fridge audit. Check your pantry, audit it, plan, see what's in there, and plan with it. And it will amaze you that you really don't have to go out to buy anything. Now, let's go on to transportation. That is another key thing that we need to focus on. We must, at all points in time, be sure that we can get from point A to point B. You really don't want to get stuck. You understand? And I, for one, I'm learning every day because I have a habit, and I know that, oh, I'm running late. And the next thing is I want to call a cab. And I'm trying, yeah, to discipline myself to make sure if it's going to take me 30 minutes more, so I have to start planning 30 minutes ahead, you understand, of my usual time of planning, I try to do that so that I can cut costs concerning transportation. Like, I didn't know how much I was really blowing until I looked at my statement at what time, and the cost on transportation was frightening. Let me use that word. So much on hopping the Uber. Sorry, Uber. You're still okay. But I use Uber a lot, I won't lie. Compares to, using the tube or using the bus. And I just found out that I enjoy bus rides. Yes, sometimes it's really long when you see how many stops you have to endure before you get to your destination. But this is summer and it's a good time. So plan ahead, enjoy the bus ride. It's a good place to sometimes listen to music, listen to a podcast, listen to an ebook, just sometimes even look around. It's fun. I use it as sightseeing. Look around, get used to my environment again, because sometimes we actually lose sight of things because you're so consumed, with day to day, and sometimes you just come and go and you don't even see the things around you. And so it's a good way to cut costs. Bus rides, think about it. And then also you can use the trains where you can't use the buses. You can use the train. Sometimes walk. I do that. Sometimes there are bus stops near me, but sometimes I walk to another bus stop, which for me is exercise and just taking a leisure walk to relax and, just look around and hop on the bus to wherever I'm going to. And then another thing is, can you, for those of us who work, one of the key consideration or the key factors is to look at work in proximity to home. It's very, very important, because if you live not too far from where you work, that is 50% of your transportation needs, or the transportation, requirements reduced. So if it is possible, why don't we move closer home? I mean, closer to work. Sometimes you might not particularly like the environment, but sometimes for the fact that we have probably a goal we want to achieve, or we want to find ourselves in a particular place, or we want to save up. Remember the definition of financial planning, using the available resources we have today, you understand, to achieve a goal or a desired result in the future. You might just for the time being have to do that swap, change your living location to near the office, you understand, or look for a job nearer home. That goes a mighty long way. I was talking to a friend and she's pretty excited to start a new job, and the drive from her house is just going to be 15 minutes compared to a drive of an hour 10 minutes that she has to do Monday to Friday. She says, forget the fact that I have an electric car, it is exhausting. Sometimes I call my friends up, I call you guys up, because I just want to talk to somebody while I'm driving, and so that's another option. Get a job nearer home. It reduces your cost on petrol, diesel. It reduces your time, the mental strength to drive and all of that. So I believe that we have touched that area. There's some of us who could cycle to work if you want to, and then you can leave your cars and use them probably over the weekend or a special occasion or something. But these are options that you can really explore and you can plan towards it. Now I'm working on a few things. I I'm really excited about it, and when I'm ready, I would announce it here on this platform. But one way you can plan accordingly, because you're like, we've heard you, you've been talking, plan. How do I do it? How do I, break it down? The thing is, I remember saying it here, you can have different accounts, or you can come up with different systems. Now, for some of us, you still want to handle the cash. Some of us are not really patient. I wouldn't say not savvy, but not really patient with dealing with the online thing, dealing with looking at things online. But we're in the digital space now, so I will encourage us not to, get weary of that. We want to deal with the physical cash. That's fine. Withdraw the money, get your monies out. Start what I would call a an envelope cashing system. You can label your envelopes, you understand? Maybe food, rent, transport, this, that. You keep it somewhere, you have it all labeled up, and you know what amount you want to commit to each of them. You can actually start a saving scheme towards it. Oh, probably the transportation for the next month, or probably my rent for the next week or the next 2 weeks, or by leftover change, you put it somewhere. All the pennies and you know the little 1p to 5p, put them all together. It will amaze you when you actually see what you have. And a good way is, it's not too late to start. Get a piggy bank, put all your coins in it, and at the end of the year you can open it up and see how much it comes to. I have learned not to despise any form of coin. Let me use that word, despise. I learned a very valuable lesson. Some many years ago, I remember I had to pop out of the house to pick up something, and I got to the town center, and I had just £1 left to take me back home. And when I got to the town center, I got on the bus, and there was something that happened on the bus, and everybody had to come down from that bus to get into another bus. And here I am. All I had with me was that £1 that I paid on that other bus. I couldn't think about walking home. I wouldn't have made it home. And I was sort of stranded. Good enough, there was somebody who had seen me, and he saw me. I was trying to negotiate with the driver, something that I would never have thought of doing. And he was from the other bus, and he told the driver, don't worry, I would pay for her. And then the buses were still taking the coins, and he paid £1 for me. I thanked him so much, and I got home and I made sure I would always have money to get me from point A to point B. So save up the pound, save up the coins, and at the end of the year you would see what you actually have. Do the envelope system. I think we should do a demonstration, and I think next time when I come, I'll come with envelopes and we'll label them up. You can have your binders, put them inside, and you can stash your monies in it. You can do the same thing with your bank account. Like I said some 2 sessions ago, I have an account where I can create money pots, and I can create pots for everything that I want to do. And I keep creating more pots, and I stash away, okay, this is transportation here, this is here, and that is here. And so if I need anything, I pull from there and I replace it there. I always do that. Like this afternoon, I took monies from where I shouldn't have taken monies from, and I pulled it from somewhere else to replace it, because the monies that I pulled from was not meant to be pulled out of. So you have all those systems in place to make sure you're grounded. You have your emergency funds, you have everything in place, which is very critical. So next week we have what we're going to do. We'll go a bit practical. We'll have our envelopes, we'll try our cashing system, or our envelope stuffing system. And with that, you can even teach your kids. You could teach. It's something that everybody can do, and you'll have fun doing it. So till I come your way again, continue to enjoy yourselves. Don't let the situation around you to weigh you down. Keep smiling, and we'll keep talking about money. Bye.